Okay.
Okay, I call the February 2nd, 2016 Commission meeting to order. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Hines,
Here.
Commissioner Martin,
Here.
Commissioner Vogt,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Terry.
Here. And our first thing on the agenda is a presentation on economic development from Mr. Justin Summer.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you some of the updates and progress that we've made as a community over the last year or so. So I'd like to start with a picture of the power plant. And sometimes it's easy to forget where we were and where we're going. So not that this is a new project, but it serves as a reminder of what the riverfront looked like and what the potential of it is. So you can see what it was and what it looks like today. Some of the things that we did accomplish in 2015 related to the power plant was we did receive the covenant not to sue, and that's been recorded with the county. So essentially what that means is the environmental concerns related to this project have been remediated. In addition to that, with the expertise of Nikki Reese, our program development manager, we were able to capture $265,000 in additional grant funds that otherwise would not have been realized. So with her expertise in grant administration, we were able to bring those dollars back to this project. So very excited about opportunities like this up and down the riverfront. And what that means as we move to the riverfront redevelopment strategy is that unfortunately some structures go away and some structures will be revitalized. So as a part of the riverfront redevelopment plan, there were 11 properties identified as catalytic properties, and the city either owns or has options on 10 of those 11 properties. And you can see the progress that we've made over the past year in moving that plan forward. So as you know, over the last year, we've taken some buildings down. We're also moving to revitalize other buildings. So the Zollinger building was officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places in December of last year. What that allows is the eligibility for historic tax credits, both from the federal and state level. So we are currently in discussions with developers to revitalize this property with the use of historic tax credits. You see the Mose building, and we are actively working with developers to revitalize this building as well. And next to it is a simple graphic working with our consultant from the Loch 9 Park and Canal Corridor redevelopment plan. So you get an idea of what the building looks like today and what it could look like in the future. So we're excited about the ideas that are coming forward from the Loch 9 Park, spurred by the riverfront redevelopment strategy. And ultimately, what we want this public sector investment to lead to is private sector investment, and we're seeing that throughout the city. So an example would be the former Edison Illuminating building, where the owners of that building are putting the investment into rehabbing it for future use. What that may be, we don't know at this point, but there are lots of ideas that we've discussed of what the potential of that building is. And then, of course, when you see a space like the Winans building and what the risers were able to do in rehabbing that building and really making it a centerpiece, a showcase into downtown, that's the type of investment that we expect to see continue throughout our city. Related to that, the neighborhood next door is the Historic East Plan. And much like the Riverfront Redevelopment Plan, we expect to see private sector investment to revitalize that area. And you can see on the screen some of the ideas that came out of that planning document. Whether these come to fruition or not is yet to be seen, but we are in active discussions with stakeholders who have an interest in investing money and creating jobs in the Historic East area. One of the factors that we know is important, not only to our growth as a community, but for the growth of our employers, is that we do have a quality of life. So the efforts in making us an active community is paying off with the recognition that we're receiving. So in the past year and a half, we've been recognized as a trail town, both for the Buckeye Trail and the North Country Trail, which is the longest trail system in the United States. And we were also awarded the bronze status for a bicycle-friendly community. And we'll see more activity related to that with bicycle-friendly businesses, getting people off of the trail system into our town, spending their dollars. Related to that, we hosted I Love Piqua series and the Miami Valley Bike Summit. So we are actively looking to activate our spaces. We want to see people out enjoying the assets that we've invested in. One of the ideas that came forward from the Miami Valley Bike Summit was a cyclovia event where you get people on the streets doing active activities. And you can see some characters out enjoying the park space there. In addition to that, from the I Love Piqua series, there was an idea to put fire and water together. So you can see that we've got some cauldrons out on the lake that was lighted during the Down the River, Down a Beer event held in Loch Nine Park, in addition to the Rock Piqua concert. So all of these types of activities help drive people into the core of our community where they're enjoying the assets that we have. And what that results in is headlines related to business expansion and growth. So we were fortunate that we've created an environment, facilitated an environment where businesses want to invest in our community. And ultimately what that leads to is a creation of jobs. So we've seen it in all different sectors, from the retail and restaurant sectors, in addition to manufacturing. So all the companies there highlighted completed expansions in 2015. And we're pleased that we've created an environment where they're confident in making investments in our community. And we look forward to more investments coming in 2016. So the logos you see here are some of the announcements that have already been made. Work has already started on either rehabbing or investing in new facilities. And again, ultimately what that leads to is a creation of jobs, providing opportunities for our citizens and those in our region to earn a good living and have a good life, a quality life. So I'll entertain any questions, but I appreciate the opportunity to share with you some of the good things going on in our community.
Wonderful. Thank you, Justin. Any questions from the commission? Okay, well, we do have some wonderful things happening here, and it's exciting to see a little more information about what is going on here in Piqua and what is to come in our near future. So thank you very much. We will move on to our consent agenda. And Gary, will you summarize that for us, please?
Be happy to. First item is approval of the minutes, and that's from the minutes from the January 5th, 2016 regular Piqua City Commission meeting and the minutes of the Piqua City Commission work session held January 14th, 2016. Item number 2 is a resolution appointing Commissioner Vogt to a 2-year term on the Piqua Energy Board, which will terminate on 12/31/2017. Item number 3 is a resolution appointing Commissioner Martin to the Piqua Energy Board for a 2-year term, terminating on 12/31/2017. Item number 4 is appointing Commissioner Vogt to the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission for a 1-year term, terminating on March 1st, 2017. Item number 5 is a resolution appointing Justin Summer to a 1-year term on the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission as an alternate, which will terminate on March 1st, 2017. Item number 6, a resolution appointing Chris Smeezing to a 1-year term as alternate on the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, which will terminate on March 1st, 2017. And item number 7 is a resolution reappointing Commissioner Martin to a 2-year term on the Miami County Council, which will terminate on December 31st, 2017.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Commissioners, all those in favor of our consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
I need a motion.
Need a motion first.
Oh, I need a motion first. Thank you. Let's make a motion to accept the consent agenda. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business, our first ordinance.
Ordinance number 1-16, this is the first reading, an ordinance to vacate a portion of public right-of-way.
Mr. Summer will provide the staff report.
Thank you. You may remember this item from the fall when you approved it to move forward to Planning Commission. But this is in response to a petition to vacate a portion of alleyway that is no longer of public use. So the item went before Planning Commission, and they have recommended that we do approve with the vacation of the alleyway. This is a portion of alley near the old Favorite Hill School site between Linden Avenue and Ford Drive. The portion of the alleyway is overgrown. It is not used as a public right-of-way and serves no public purpose at this time. So the recommendation is that we do vacate this portion of alleyway.
Okay.
If the commission would like, the applicant is here tonight if you have any questions for the applicant also.
Well, I had a question concerning the planning commission meeting. Did we have any comments from any of the adjoining neighbors that touched this property at all? I mean, any comments from any of them, one way or the other?
I was not at the Planning Commission meeting, but let me look back at the notes. I don't believe that there is anybody there to speak against the item.
Would I be out of order to say anything?
Oh,
I'm George Lovett. I'm here for Bill Didger, the applicant.
right.
There was no public comment. However, there was a submittal by one of the neighbors who did grant a waiver for the request.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to be sure we didn't have any issues with any of the neighbors at
It
all.
was a wonderfully drama-free environment.
All right. Yes. Unusual, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, well, this stands as our first reading then. We have two more readings for this ordinance. Okay, moving on to our first resolution.
Resolution number 15-16, a resolution authorizing an amendment to zoning map to change the zoning designation of 530 West High Street to an R2 two-family residential.
Mr. Summer.
Thank you. This is another item that went before Planning Commission, and Commissioner Wilson, I can say on this one that there was nobody there to speak against this item. This is responding to a request from the property owner to rezone a parcel from general business, and the request was made to rezone it to R1 residential. The Planning Commission reviewed the request and actually recommended R2 residential. And the reason for that is it falls in line with what the rest of the zoning and that is adjacent to this property is. So essentially this is a single-family house, and it's being sold, and in order for that transaction to go through with the bank, it needs to have the appropriate zoning. So it's currently zoned business. Business does allow for a dwelling, but puts restrictions on that. The R2 designation allows it to continue as it is today as a residential structure, but without the restrictions from the business district. So again, as you see in the map in the packet, it is common for this area to remain R2 residential, or to be R2 residential. The likelihood of us seeing more items like this, there's a possibility of that, because these are single-family residences that were at one time zoned business for whatever reason, but will remain residences.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, is there any way that a property can have, or a section of Piqua can have dual zoning designations? Where it'd be business and R2?
Well, I think in those cases, what happens is the zoning allows for different uses. So, for instance, the business would allow for residential to occur. The various zonings have certain types of uses that are permitted within that zoning, and that's how the uses occur.
Okay,
I'm not aware of having, or anyone having dual zonings, so.
okay, all right.
But that one property, Justin, would be kind of like spot zoning? because everything surrounding it on that side of the alley is business. Of course, on the other side of the alley, it looks like it's all R2, which I guess is appropriate, but still seems to me that, I don't understand why it's all been zone business.
Well,
Do we know when that happened?
I don't know when or why that happened. So that's why I think that we'll see more of these in the future. So at one point in time, the zoning just made a blanket over these parcels without real consideration to what their existing use was. So I think, at that point in time, they thought that it would be businesses, insurance offices, or law offices, or something like that, but that hasn't happened. They've stayed as residences. So, and I think we'll see this. So instead of making a blanket over the entire street, we need to look at what the real uses of the parcels are. And in this instance, the R2 residential it's a permitted use, and it makes sense still with the zoning for the area. It's what's adjacent to it, even though, the rest of the street is business. I don't foresee it staying all business as more of these property owners in the future, as they look to sell, will have to come back and do these changes.
So we're looking forward, maybe not so much, to having one by one, perhaps these properties come before us.
Well, I think you will see that, because we want to be considerate of what those individual uses are, still in line with what the planning for those areas are. But we've got to be considerate. So to put a blanket over the whole street is kind of what led us to this situation. So I think you will see more individuals coming forward in the future.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, moving on.
Resolution number 16-16, a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of transformers for the power system.
Mr. Berger will provide the staff report.
Thank you. So this resolution will allow the power system to purchase 22 transformers from ERMCO. At this time, each year, the power system solicits bids to replenish our inventory. This year, we received 5 bids from different vendors. As our standard procedure, we evaluate each bid not only based on the initial cost of the transformer, but also what it costs to own and operate the transformer over the 25-year life expectancy. Based on that evaluation, ERMCO was the best bidder for 22 transformers. The breakdown is 10 25 kVA, 10 37.5 kVA transformers, and 2 3-phase 2500 kVA transformers.
Okay, Commissioner, are there any questions?
Yeah, how do you come up with the evaluated cost? What do you consider for that?
So the evaluated cost is based on the losses from the transformer, which is provided by each vendor. We ask them to give us the full load and no load losses. That is put into a calculation over a 25-year period. Every transformer is not created equal. It's based on the design, the purity of material that they use, so the losses vary per vendor. So we put it in a 25-year calculation. It'll tell you what it costs to actually energize that transformer over that time, and then what the initial cost of the transformer is into it.
Is the 25 years a pretty realistic time frame of how long they'll last?
Yeah, typically transformers last anywhere from 20 to 30 years, so we took the average of it.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve resolution number R1616?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Mayor Hines,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Okay, our next resolution?
Board Resolution Number 17-16, a resolution requesting final legislation to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the North Main Street Streetscape Project.
Mr. Grazier will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Gary. This legislation is our final legislation for the North Main Street streetscape. This project limits will be from Green Street to North Street, so it's just one block on North Main Street. It is the continuation of our streetscape on Main Street, so we're just doing the next block on that as a part of an ODOT project, which we have funding with them. Funding breakdowns are as shown. We are asking for $50,000 that we have for, and includes a 10% contingency for any overruns.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
During construction, it's going to start in the spring of this year, correct?
Yes.
That the traffic will remain open? Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be able to just, we won't have any detours, no.
Okay. And then approximate completion date?
I think on this project, it would probably be no more than a couple months.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And then
About 3 months.
the businesses will have access?
Yes, oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I want to ask a question here. Maybe I'm missing something. My glasses might not be working right. It says the city agrees to assume and bear 100% of the entire project. And why are we only asking for $50,000?
This is actually it's an ODOT project, so we have a portion that we have to submit, which is the $50,000. The total, the amount of the project would be $268,000.
But why does it say we're going to bear 100% of the cost?
If I can jump in there, the rest of the sentence is less the amount of federal aid funds, and it goes on. So it's 100% of the project minus all the grant dollars received.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve resolution number R 17-16?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Mayor Hines.
Aye. And our next resolution, number R-18-16.
A resolution authorizing a purchase order to Valley Asphalt Corp. as a primary supplier and Barrett Paving Materials as a secondary supplier of hot mix for the 2016 street and alley maintenance program.
I'll call on Mr. Harder to provide the staff report.
Thank you, Gary. This resolution will give us authorization to purchase asphalt from Valley Corp. as our primary place to buy asphalt, and our secondary will be Barrett. We do this every year. We go out for bid. Those are the only two that we receive. And seeing that Valley is in Troy and Barrett is in Sydney, they're very close to us. So that way, if one plant breaks down or they don't have the mix we want, we do have an option, so we don't have to stop our paving.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners?
Can we do this paving throughout the winter?
No, they closed down this year. I think it was December 11th. And they'll open up probably the first part of March, just
Okay.
depending on weather.
So that's for the hot asphalt or whatever
Yes, for
you
the
call
hot
it, the hot
asphalt.
mix? Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve resolution number R-18-16?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Mayor Hines,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
And our next resolution, number R-19-16.
A resolution authorizing a purchase order to the Piqua Materials as a supplier of stone and cold patch for the 2016 street and alley maintenance program.
Mr. Harder.
Thank you. This resolution will allow us to purchase stone, as it says, and coal patch for 2016 from Piqua Materials. The stone is used for base repair in the roadways and the alleys.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, how come we're not getting the cold patch from Barrett? Theirs is 120 and Piqua Materials is 170.
The closest place they have is Moraine. So by
Okay.
the time we drive down there, spend the gas and the employee time, it's an hour and 15-minute one way. So you're looking at 2.5, 3 hours round trip.
All right.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve resolution number R-1916?
So moved.
Second.
Becky, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry,
Aye.
Mayor Hines.
Aye. And our final resolution tonight, resolution number R-20-16.
A resolution requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with Kleininger's Group for the engineering and design of the Shawnee Neighborhood Stormwater Diversion Project.
Mr. Alexander will provide the staff report.
Thank you. In accordance with our current stormwater master plan, and we've been working with Kleinger's over the last year roughly in the Shawnee neighborhood evaluating the stormwater issues that prevail over there. Many alternatives were presented to us, but we felt the initial response to what we should be looking for is the project we present to you tonight in this resolution, which would be Kleinger's would be doing the design, engineering, and bidding services for this project. Mike Bruner from Kleinger's is here tonight for any technical questions pertaining to the project. But the project would entail putting in a storm sewer from on 2nd Street from Cleveland west underneath of the levee out to the river.
Okay. Are there any questions from the commission? Yep.
Why do it at Second Street?
I'm going to allow Mike from Kleinger's to
Okay, that's fine.
give a technical answer. Thank you.
Thanks. We looked at a number of different scenarios, both at the pump station and at the gravity system. And according to, talking to Devin and the other people in the city, it was conveyed to us that that's the area around on Cleveland between 1st and 3rd that floods most frequently. And so we felt like that was the best place for the first year's project of potentially a number of years' projects to fix the stormwater issues there, to put an additional outlet at the location where the main problem is.
Well, I live on Cleveland Street.
Okay.
At 3rd Street is where it's the deepest, so why wouldn't we put it there?
Well, it's kind of tight there to get under the levee because the levee is right up against the edge of the road, basically. Well, maybe there's 50 feet before you get to the levee. It was just a much more congested construction spot, and the sewers are running by gravity towards 2nd Street. So we felt like putting it there would not only be easier construction, but it would potentially catch more water. If we put it at 3rd, all the storm sewers downstream from there would not be able to utilize that new outlet as well.
Because from watching it flood, the water goes from 2nd Street that goes to the east to 3rd Street. That's where the water goes.
Goes to the south, you mean, to 3rd?
Yeah.
Along
The
Cleveland?
water goes down Cleveland south to 3rd Street.
Well, that would seem to make putting it at 2nd even a better solution, because instead of it going to 3rd, it would go out 2nd Street to the west and to the river. You say it's kind of like traveling south from 2nd.
Yeah, it's going backwards.
Yeah. Well, by putting it at 2nd, it's going to put the water out to the river before it has a chance to go south toward 3rd.
Okay, but there's the intersection right at Cleveland and 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I can stand on my front porch and the storm sewer howls from all the wind coming up through it, and you can hear the water coming because you hear the noise and the noise stops and the water comes out of the manhole.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was just wondering why not put it at 3rd.
Well, once again, the main reason is that the storm sewer elevation at 3rd is higher than it is at 2nd.
Okay, true.
So you want to put the new outlet sewer at as low as possible point you can get on the system.
Okay.
Because everything in the pipes is flowing to the north.
And I take it this isn't going to have a pump on it?
No, it's not.
So this will only work when the river's down.
Correct.
May I intervene as well to explain the situation? You are correct. This is going to be a gravity flow sewer. It is only going to work when the river is down. The initial flooding that in every flooding instance that we've had in Shawnee has always been, to my knowledge, an initial heavy downpour event. Typically, you get a heavy 15, 20-minute rain. The system can't hold the water. We get backup. Over the course of like a 3 or 4 or even a whole week rain event where it's slow and steady, our system does hold that, and it does operate through the pump system, what we currently have. So this new storm sewer will be just an alleviation and in a large rain event when it initially happens. And John is right. When the river comes up, there will be a gate, and that system will the new system will be shut off since it's not a pump system. It is designed to just help alleviate the initial rain event that what we've seemed to have been facing in the past.
Okay, all right.
Any other,
Thank you.
any other questions?
So when the river's up, it won't drain. Are we going to get a backup at that point?
No, it will have a gate on it. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, a manual shut gate or an automatic flap gate of some sort?
It will have both.
It will have both? Okay. No, there'll be a system involved in it where it will shut off and there won't be able to be backflow back up to the
I think
sewer.
he's talking about the collection of,
I'm talking about the collection in the street. At that point, it'll all just go to the street again then, right?
If the river was up and the new storm sewer is shut, it would operate just as it would have in the past, yes.
Right.
and one of the things, as was mentioned, this may be only the first phase of
Yeah.
projects that we have to do in Shawnee, because there are considerable storm water issues that it's probably going to take additional work in the future to alleviate.
Yeah,
So
actually,
this
there
is
were
this is
a
actually
handful
the
of
first.
alternatives presented. One is upgrading the current pump station. One is another diversion sewer in a different area. And please keep in consideration the amount of money that we're spending in the stormwater budget for it. It pretty much is pushing the fold for us. Some of the projects reach way above what we currently have in funding. This project was evaluated. It fits in our budget, and we feel that it could be a good resolution. And we never know. We might not have to do more after we see what this does, but then there still is the potential that some of the other alternatives that have been presented may still need to be done. So it's more of a one step at a time type approach. So what we're trying to target and go for.
And I think in the future, after we find out how that works, it may prohibit us from having to pay a lot more for future projects over that way. So it's something we'll have to evaluate as we get the first phase in.
It was largely a question of what comes first, which project comes first. And this seemed like the best bang for the buck.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Thank you very much. All right, do we have a motion then to accept resolution number R-20-16?
So moved.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Hines,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
All right, and now we move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you. At our last work session, we talked about possible charter changes related to the election, and I thought I'd ask our legal counsel tonight to kind of update, because we asked her, she was given the challenge of coming up with options, and trust me, there's lots of options. So I'd asked Stacy to share a little bit of that information tonight.
Thank you. I asked the mayor if we could sort of take the needle out of the haystack a little bit, because there's so many options. I don't know which direction the commission was really looking for as a result of the work session. Are you focused on the wards and how the boundaries are drawn? Are you focused on how many sit up here at the commission? Are you focused on, we heard, do you need experience to be the mayor? First, you need to be a commissioner. There were a lot of different options, and so you could make the mayor, for example, a vote only when there's a tie. You could, if you wanted the mayor elected separately from the commissioner. So there's so many options, I didn't know which direction to go. And in thinking about it, what the charter provides is every 10 years, we do a charter review, and we establish a committee for that, and I sort of guide them in that process. And if you recall, in the last charter review committee, what we did was each commissioner selected a member from his or her ward to make up that committee. And then we could come together to see what really your representatives or the ones who elected you are thinking, put those ideas together, and then make a report to the commission to see which direction you want to go.
I think our biggest thing was the whole mayor commissioner thing was the most talked about. Was trying to figure out a way to alleviate how that's done to make it simpler.
Agree, but there's still way too many options to do that. So I guess I'm looking for, did you want the mayor and, for example, what we've heard a lot is, you know, it would have been great to have Gary Koenig and Casey elected, and people didn't understand, despite the charter never changing, that you would vote for whoever got the commissioner seat, you were also voting for the mayor's seat. And so are you looking to clarify that language? Are you looking to separate the positions where maybe Mr. Koenig and Casey would have been elected because one would have been mayor and one would have been Fifth Ward commissioner? So there's so many directions to go. I'm not sure which direction the commission's going, although they want to address the issue of mayor and commissioner. But that still leaves a very large plate of options, if you will. And you can correct it or change it by a lot of ways. One possibility, your mayor is only ceremonial. The mayor's only doing proclamations. The mayor's only doing weddings. The mayor could vote during ties. Or the mayor stays as is, a full voting member. So there's different ways to look at it. Do you want 4 wards with the mayor being a separate position, so you still have 5 people up here, but it's 4 commissioners and 1 mayor? I hope I'm
It's
expressing
done-
how there's a lot of
yeah.
different ways to go.
It's done a lot of different ways in a lot of different places, so I think it's, we're looking for your direction to decide which way to take this, so.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about this. Right now, we got the commission and the mayor. I think that if we had a separate election for the mayor on the odd year, say every 2 years, basically, we'd like commission. You understand? The terms are 2 years apart.
Rotating, yes.
They're 4-year terms, but they are elected 2 years apart. That year in between then would be a good time just to have a separate election for a mayor, and the people that are already on the commission would submit their petition to be on the ballot for mayor.
So what you're saying is then only the existing commissioners could run for mayor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't at the, we were out of town when the work session happened, so always when I don't get to be there, there's more interesting things at the work sessions than when I get to be here. I think we're really opening a big can of worms. I mean, if we're looking at all those scenarios. But when was the last charter review committee formed? Do we know that date?
Years ago.
Right, about 2008.
2008. So we've still got a couple of years before, or does it make a difference whether we call a committee before that 10 years is up?
No, because you're looking at a very specific purpose to possibly amending the charter, just dealing with this one issue. You're not doing a whole charter review. So you could have a committee look at that. This is such a big issue. I think it's a great idea to actually form a separate committee rather than making it of an entire charter review committee. Because there's so many possibilities with this, and this really is the most important provisions of your charter, because this is what governs your city. So to have such a very important topic, I think it really deserves the focus it needs, and one option to do that would be to form a committee. Again, you could choose how to do that, but my suggestion would be each of you select a person from your ward to give input. And then I would certainly work with that committee about the options available and then take suggestions and show them the pros and the cons and that type of thing, so we could then put one report together to bring back to this body.
So we would not sit on the committee,
No,
so.
but it would not be formalized in an ordinance form or changes till this body approves it. So it would be that committee focusing on the issues, bringing forward what they think the community's looking at, and then presenting that to you.
That would have to be put on the ballot then, wouldn't it?
Right, any charter change would come to this body as an ordinance to approve, to go to the ballot. And if you want it for the November election, we would have to have it to the Board of Elections by about the first week in August.
Are there any other pressing issues on the charter that need reviewed as well?
If you recall because I know you were on the Charter Review Committee the last time, we did not conclude the finance issues
Right, we
because we
did
were in a
not.
new software update, but
Right.
I don't think that's completed yet, so
Okay.
that's not there. And then the only other one, which may be pressing at this time, given the direction of the city, I would recommend at the same time, which isn't really a discussion issue, it's just state law now allows that you can go into executive session for purposes of economic development, and there's very specific provisions you need to meet for that. But given that the city is looking at riverfront development and looking at historic East Piqua development, I would recommend in our charter section, we add that clause of state law that allows you to go into executive session for that purpose.
I would highly recommend that, because there are times we need to have those private conversations.
And it's not, again, it's not really a discussion point. State law allows it. State law was amended a couple of years ago to allow it, but our charter just doesn't automatically reflect state law changes. We have to actually approve that.
And what about anything we can do to make the election process easier for people, since the Board of Elections doesn't seem to want to help? Is there anything we need to help there, because it's kind of really bad right now? Is there anything we can make easier for the citizens who want to run?
Well, those petitions are done by the state of Ohio, so I don't personally see anything in the charter that would make that process easier. However, we could change some of the language to make sure it is consistent with state law. For example, the filing deadline isn't different than the state deadline.
Right.
So we can make those types of changes.
And I think as we're getting into this, I think we need another charter review, because we're adding more and more things. And it's essentially a charter review anyway. We're doing it the same way.
Right.
Right.
But it's really, instead of reviewing the charter, you're focusing on one issue. It may be more than one section in the charter, but it's one issue, and that's how the commissioners or the mayor are elected. So I would suggest that if we form a group, it's only for that purpose, because to review the whole charter is very cumbersome.
Right.
Whereas this is a very narrow issue that is a very large issue to look at.
All right. We can still give them parameters, though, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we want to do that. I don't think we want to go to 9 members. I don't, there's a lot of things I think, as Gary said, that would be like herding cats, so.
And anything they suggest, it is not set in stone. It's
Right.
advisory only. It's for
Right.
you to say yes or no.
Right.
So the committee just has the ability of focusing on the issue more and seeing really what the opinion is out there, how they see it moving forward. And then you can say yes or no.
Okay.
You can completely say no and let's go a different direction. That's up to you. But this kind of narrows it and focuses it a little bit, instead of me trying to figure out what it's in all of your minds on which direction to
Right.
go.
And as long as we can maybe narrow it down with the numbers we want, other things that would help you as well.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so are you looking for us then to ask you to form the committee and each of us
Right, so
appoint someone?
right now, what it would be is there a consensus to form a committee for the sole purpose of reviewing this issue in the charter on the election of mayor and commissioner. And if so, you select someone from your ward, and you could just send the person's name to me, and then I'll get the committee together and we'll start working on the issues.
When do we give you the parameters, though?
Anytime.
Okay.
If you're going to do it as a group, as a body, you'll need to discuss it in open session. But if you had ideas from your ward or whatever, you wanted to email me individually, you could do that as well.
Well, I think we should all agree on what we're thinking. I may not agree with someone else or vice versa as far as, you know, there's, I think we need to get into that before we give it to a group.
First thing we gotta do, we gotta get our group.
Yeah.
And then Stacy could address the group and tell them what we're having problems with and tell them to fix it.
And we have to approve whatever they come back
Right,
with us
right.
anyway. But I like the idea of appointing somebody from each of our wards to do that.
Yeah, and that's how we did it for the charter review, so it's,
So if you're wanting to get together, you're scheduled for, we don't have anything scheduled, a work session is scheduled on the 11th. If you wanted to meet at that time on just that topic and talk about it and set your parameters, you have that time to do that. It's coming up next week. Or if you want to just do it as individuals and send it to Stacy, you can do it that way.
I think we'd be better off discussing it at a work session. That way, we wouldn't have to get back and back and back and back and back.
I agree. I agree.
I agree with that, doing a work session.
So we'll schedule a work session for the 11th, which will be next Thursday, then,
Okay.
week from Thursday.
Okay.
And do you want us to send names to you before that?
No, I would suggest that if we're gonna have a work session on Thursday, you just have your name by Thursday, so I
Okay.
can get started right after that, since the ideas will be fresh, and I can get going on it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions for Stacy on that issue? I just have a couple of other event notifications to let you know about. I was mentioned earlier, the Vietnam Remembrance event is scheduled for February the 6th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the VFW. The Miami Valley Center Mall has 2 autograph sessions coming up on February the 6th, 13th. From noon to 2 o'clock is author David Fong, and then from 1 to 3, we'll feature some of the Ohio State Buckeye football team members for autographs. Then the city will be hosting a public meeting regarding the expansion of the trail system eastward to Champaign County, westward to Darke County, and north to Shelby County. That meeting will take place on February the 10th at 6 p.m. at the Fort Piqua Plaza Banquet Center. This is a grant that was received by the municipalities from those areas, including Piqua, to be able to plan the expansion of the trail system. And what's exciting about this is this would, by expansion north, west, and east, would pretty much make Piqua the western hub of bicycle in the state. So it's an exciting project. With that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Okay. All right. Well, commissioners, why don't we start down with you, Bill, and we'll just work this way.
No comment.
One comment. Support our veterans. Go out there Saturday and do what you can.
Thanks, Tom. Joe?
a few weeks before the Piqua-Troy game, basketball game, four seniors got together to try to promote suicide prevention between the Troy and the Piqua schools, and they were Kyle Engel, Carly Brown, Jack Smeezing, and Liz Dewar. And I believe they're all seniors, and they wanted to do something. They came up with this promotion of suicide prevention, and it came about because a Troy athlete apparently committed suicide, and it's a much bigger issue than I realized and what most people realize. And I even read some statistics through the whole United States that 60% of high school students have thought about suicide, and about 9% have tried to commit suicide, which is, crazy number. I don't think it's that high around here, but I don't really know. But anyway, they recognize the problem, and they designed a T-shirt between the Troy and Piqua schools, and they met with some of their Troy seniors, and they both got together, and they designed the T-shirts. It sold 500 T-shirts and raised money, and it went to raised a total of $3,500. and the money was going to the Miami County Board of Recovery, which helps a lot of suicide issues and prevention and all that. And I just thought it was a great thing that these high school kids are doing. I know when I was in high school, I wasn't thinking about helping the community like these kids were. You know, you get a lot of distraction. So they did this on their own with the help of their athletic directors and did a lot of good things. And just thought, if you know any of these kids, or if you know their families, you might want to thank them for what they did. And in fact, Jack Smeezing is son of Chris Smeezing, who works for the city, and he also I know we picked up trash from the river during the summer. Got to know him a little bit, and he helped me pull me out of the river a few times. So he's a real nice kid. I got to know him that day, and Liz Dewar, I've known her since she was born. So it's just nice to hear some of the young kids doing something good for the community. So I guess that's all I have.
I'd just like to congratulate Gordon Wise, who was named by the Chamber as the Order of George Award winner for this year. And he certainly is deserving of the honor.
Thank you, Judy. Yes, I also was going to say the same thing. It was wonderful to see Gordy recognized for that very prestigious award at the Chamber dinner last week. Also want to remind you that we are in Black History Month. There are a variety of things happening in our community, especially at Edison. There are some things happening, and I encourage you to look at their website to see the different things that are happening this month. There are some wonderful things happening just to celebrate Black History Month. Also, the 4-H in Miami County is having an event this Saturday at the mall between 10 and 1 for those that are interested in getting involved in 4-H. I saw that in the paper as well. Also, a couple other high school students I wanted to mention. Piqua High School diver Ike Harn has won back-to-back G-Walk diving championships. So way to go, Ike. For all of that wonderful ability that he has. I have seen him dive, and he is amazing. Also, Piqua High School swimmers Corinne Tischer and Meredith Karn also placed first in some recent meets as well as a GWalk meet. So we have some wonderful swimmers among us at the high school. And also tonight, Nancy Luce was recognized at the Upper Valley Career Center. She has been recognized this year as the Ohio ACTE Region 1 Administrator of the Year. So I send a wonderful, just on behalf of all of us here, for the good work that she does for our community at the Upper Valley Career Center. Are there any other comments this night? If not, our meeting is adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Aye.
Thank you.